Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Rotator Cuff Expert. I'm Dr. Orcutt. This is the channel that we have on. We are doing well. We're getting more and more subscribers. We're helping more and more people. So please let people know if they're having trouble with your shoulder. We have lots and lots of videos that kind of walk through a whole bunch of stuff, whole bunch of details, whether it's before surgery, whether it's right before surgery, whether it's right after surgery, or months after surgery. Please let anybody you know that may benefit from this channel. Also, we have the private Facebook group, so we'll put a link up there. So go there if you're interested, and you can join a community of people that are trying to serve each other and get us all through these tough times. And lastly, Rotator Cuff Expert also has a website that's called mybodyprotector.com. We have some additional information there, some products there, some things that hopefully, again, get you through this tough time. So thank you. And now we're going to talk about something a little bit easier than the last stuff we talked about. So last stuff I talked about was constipation, right? And this topic is, when can I play golf, or when can I be active in sports after my shoulder surgery? Now we're going to specifically talk about rotator cuff because that's this channel. The same basic thing applies after any other surgery that you have in the shoulder. The biggest thing is talk with your doctor, right? Because every surgery is a little different, every procedure is a little bit different, and every person is a little bit different. And so we want to make sure we're making good decisions on when you can do certain things. So this is a general guidelines, but obviously every person's different, so talk to your doctor about this. So when can I start, when can I play golf, or when can I be active? Well, again, it depends on what you're having done, but let's just say you have the run-and-mill rotator cuff tear, not particularly big, not particularly small, not particularly difficult to fix, and so you are in the sling, and obviously you're in the sling for 2 weeks, and then or so when you come back and you see the doctor, or you see the APP, and then we talk about doing therapy. You do therapy for a little while, and we're talking somewhere about 6 weeks. So it's actually not that much different than driving. Somewhere in 6 weeks, we say there's no restrictions. You can move your arm as much as you want to. You can do strength training, specifically with therapy. And then perhaps then, again, depending on the exact details, what I would say, if we're talking about golf, then you can begin to chip and putt, right? Then you can do a little bit of work on your short game, chip, putt, that should be fine, but probably not any really big, significant swings, bigger clubs, 5 irons and beyond, and drivers. Probably somewhere around 3 months. As long as your rotation is good, your motion is good, your strength is reasonable, you could probably start hitting those clubs. Now, the interesting thing is, lots of people who have rotator cuff problems can play golf, and that's because the rotator cuff tendons are not particularly active in the golf swing. And so, just like before surgery, if you could play golf, after surgery, you don't have a lot of activation of those rotator cuff tendons and muscles, and therefore somewhere, I would say, from my perspective, somewhere around 3 months, we can begin to play golf in a meaningful way, right? And so you might start with just going to the driving range and hitting a few longer irons, and maybe a little bit of your driver, and seeing how that feels the next day, and slowly advancing it. So somewhere around 3 months is really when we begin to talk about this may be a reasonable time. Now, again, we have to make sure you have near full range of motion. We got to make sure you have pretty good strength, and we also have to go slow. The key thing is, if you're going to advance in anything, whether it's throwing a ball or using your club or starting pickleball or whatever, we have to go slow, and we have to be wise. We have to know that what we feel the day that we're doing it is not necessarily how we're going to feel the day after we do it. So we do a little bit, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, say, okay, that's enough. Let me see how I feel the next day. And if how you feel the next day is going to determine what you do next. And so what you do next, if you feel okay, is add on another 5 minutes and another 10 minutes. And then see how you feel the next day. And if you feel sore, then you back off. You take some day of rest. You take some anti-inflammatories if you can, and you ice it down, and then see how you do the next day. So really slow, methodical. The biggest problem that I see when people come in and say, "Oh yeah, I tried to play golf, I can't do that." And I say, "Well, what do you mean you can't do that?" He says, "Well, I tried to play 18 holes. I only got through 3." Well, that doesn't mean you can't play golf. It just means you can't play 18 holes yet, right? And so we want to be wise in our recovery. We don't want to set ourselves back, but we also want to be able to live life. And part of living life is doing things you love to do, whether that's pickleball, golf, or playing with the grandkids or your kids in the backyard. But we need to do it thoughtfully and carefully and slowly so that we don't get that setback. So anyway, usually somewhere about 6 weeks, we may be able to do some gentle swinging. In about 3 months is when we start thinking about we might be able to do some full swinging, and therefore after 3 months, as we slowly advance ourselves up, we may be able to do a normal round of golf. Hope this helps. That's it for today. Again, please like, subscribe, and we'll be getting to another video soon. Thanks.